For the next 30 minutes, we will explore the unexplained. From mysteries beyond our galaxy to ghostly phenomena in our own backyard, we will dive into our psychic abilities and explore everything from conspiracies to the just plain weird. Welcome to 30-odd minutes. If the truth is out there, we will find it. But only by sheer accident.
Woo! Welcome to 30-odd minutes. It is awesome to have you guys here tonight. I'm Jeff Belanger. Welcome to the show. We've landed the mothership right here in the prairies of Illinois. That's what that is back there, in case you were wondering. Thank you for having us, Illinois. It's great to be here in the Prairie State tonight. Love you. Hey, email us at info@30oddminutes.com. If you're watching the show in our chat room, you can jump in, because right now the show's live in there, and you can ask questions. You can talk to Andrew and Matt. Look at them, lovely on the couch. Aw, Sarah's off tonight. She'll be back next time. We promise, we promise. Great to have you guys here. How have you been? Everything good this week?
Yeah, not bad. Weather was good.
I know, it was good. It was so good, in fact, that Mr. Lake and I went legend tripping in the woods of Rhode Island. Now, here's the thing. We've been asking you folks forever, send us your field reports. You can be part of the show. We love this. We haven't had one in a while. All you have to do is take your favorite video camera, head out to your favorite weird site, and give us a report. Keep it under 60 seconds. Email us for details. We love to get that. Send us your weird all over the country, all over the world. We want to hear your reports. Here's one filed by Mr. Lake. Check this out.
This is Rhode Island's official haunted site. It was here in 1822 that a man named Peleg Walker, one of the business owners, committed suicide in the mill. He found himself in a humiliating situation where he owed the factory $500 and had to hand over his part of the business over to his in-laws. And on May 19th, 1822, he locked himself in the mill and cut his own throat. And to this day, they say he still haunts the property carrying a lantern with him.
See? Was that so hard? Very cool place. Nice job, Mr. Lake. Andrew, you've been going to the old Ramtail factory site for a long time, right?
Oh, yeah. I've been going there for a while. I mean, it's probably one of the most haunted places in all southern New England, as far as I'm concerned. We
were out there. You had said something weird happened to you at one point. What was that?
Yeah. One of the vigils out there on an October night, I watched a very strange ball of light moving about on the other side of the river, and caught some very impressive EVPs at the same moment.
Which is kind of cool, because that's one of the legends, right? An old watchman's lantern walking around, people seeing that ball of light, correct?
Yeah, yeah. They say that Peleg Walker, since his suicide, has been damned to the site to perpetually walk his rounds.
Very cool. Matt, have you been there?
Yeah, with Andy and a couple of times on my own.
Yeah.
Interesting place.
Yeah, yeah. It's cool, man. These old sites are out there in the woods. They're just getting sucked back by nature, and it's really a cool place to visit. So thank you for taking me, Andrew Lake. Thanks for that field report. We want to see yours too, so please send them in. Email us for more information. We'd love to see what you got. Show us your odd, as they say. Cool. So you guys did email us this week. Matt, what was the first email?
First email we got: Dear 30 Odd, what's it like behind the scenes of your show? Danny P. from Little Rock, Arkansas.
Danny P. from Little Rock, Arkansas. You want to know what it's like behind the scenes? We'll show you. Hey, it's Eric. He's our new director and producer and guy that throws all the buttons. Hey, Eric, yay!
And the guy who got me a coffee.
All right, that's what it's like behind the scenes. Good question, good question. Andrew Lake, we got another question this week, too.
This one says, my name is Casey, and me and my friends Steve and Jeremy recently found your show on local programming. Keep up the good work, I love it.
Oh, thanks.
Quick question. We just bought a house in New Hampshire that is from the year 1775. We just found proof that the Underground Railroad went through the house, and we found a trap door that was once used to hide slaves when company came over. We move in next month, and I'm wondering if you think there will be any issues when we do. If we disturb the spirit or spirits in the home, what consequences do you think me and my family will face? Please help. Casey, Steve, and Jeremy.
Casey, Steve, and Jeremy, thank you for giving us our debate of the week. Debate of the week.
Debate of the week.
Thanks for the echo. What do you think, Matt? Trouble? No? Yes?
I don't think there will be a problem as long as they are respectful and don't really cause too much, commotion in the house, so to speak?
All right. Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, has there been any history of activity in the house?
What do I look like, Casey, Steve?
Exactly.
No.
You know?
I don't know. I have no idea. No, it's a good question. It's interesting to wonder if you're moving into a haunted house. Listen, if you get there and it is haunted, call us. New Hampshire's not that far. I'm thinking live show, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
We love that. We love ghosts and haunted places. And that's why I'm so excited about tonight. As far as Illinois goes, I've been there before. I've been there plenty, usually in Chicago. And Chicago is home to one of my favorite ghost stories in America, the story of Resurrection Cemetery, Resurrection Mary. It's the original Phantom Hitchhiker, at least in the United States. She's been seen up and down Archer Avenue since the 1930s. And the story is pretty similar. She's been seen between the old Willowbrook Ballroom and Resurrection Cemetery, which is like a 3-mile stretch of road or so. And I got to go there with Ursula Bielski, one of our former Oddball guests. Yay, Ursula!
Yay.
And you know, we're going down Archer Avenue, and there's a place called Chet's Melody Lounge right across the street from the cemetery. And if you look up dive bar, no offense, our friends at Chet's, we love you dearly, but if you look up dive bar in the dictionary, I believe there's a picture of Chet's Melody Lounge, and you walk in at 11 in the morning, and the sun, you know, hits the dust on the floor, and the locals cringe at the bright light, and they got stories to tell. You know, people stumble into that bar thinking they just hit a woman in the street, and you know, they come out and there's no damage to the car, and there's no body, no nothing. This story comes up again and again. There's been movies made about Resurrection Mary. There's been songs written about her. She's, you know, probably Chicago's most famous ghost, but she's not alone by far, and she's not alone in the state of Illinois, and that's what we're going to be kind of exploring tonight, and I'm super psyched to do it because our guest tonight, he received his master's degree in history from Eastern Illinois University, and he's the author of numerous books, including Tales of Coles County, Illinois, 6 Tales of Terror, Shades of Gray, and of course his latest, Haunting Illinois. He's been a guest on many radio and television programs, and tonight he's all yours, live from Rockford, Illinois. Please welcome Michael Kleen. Hey!
Hello. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming on. Thanks for slumming it with us here on 30-odd Minutes. You could be doing anything, and you're with us. We appreciate it.
I wouldn't rather be anywhere else but here.
Aw, shucks. Go on. No, I'm kidding. All right, listen. Hey, how does a respectable young man with a master's degree in history get involved with ghosts and stuff like that?
Well, it's a subject that I've been interested in most of my life, as I imagine a lot of you gentlemen have been. And so it's something that I've just been exploring in Illinois because, as you know, Illinois is a very haunted state. There's a lot of different legends about ghosts from all the way down in southern Illinois, what we call Little Egypt, all the way up to Chicago and northern Illinois and western, you know, all parts of the state have some really fascinating stories. And so the question is, how could I not be interested in that? You know, I mean, it's an integral part of our culture and our history.
Right. Now, do your professors ever scoff at you? I mean, you know, I just recently found out within the last few minutes you have 2 master's degree, which is only 2 master's degrees more than I have. So I'm hot on your tail. Do your professors ever like, come on, ghosts, really? Are you bringing us down or what?
All the time. All the time.
That's awesome.
I actually, I'm going to be speaking at the history conference here in Illinois about the history of witchcraft in Illinois. And I was surprised that they actually chose that paper because it's an unusual subject. It's not something that historians usually want to discuss. So, you know, there's some hesitation, but I think that if I frame it in a certain way, in a more kind of analytical way about how the stories can teach us about Illinois history, I think that they're more susceptible to it.
Okay, so, I mean, you come at this as a historian, as a folklorist, but, you know, we got to ask the question, are you a believer? Do you believe it's more than just a story? Do you believe there's something out there?
I believe that there are definitely things that people are experiencing that they can't explain. Now, the big question is that are these ghosts of deceased individuals? Is it something that, some kind of phenomenon that science has yet to discover? You know, I think that those are real questions, questions that we haven't been able to answer yet. So I do think that there have been far too many people who have had these experiences to just discount it completely and say, oh, it's all in their heads, you know, because I've talked to, I don't know how many people, I'm sure you have as well, who have a story. Pretty much everyone, you know, will come up to me and even grudgingly they'll admit, you know, well, I know someone who had this experience, or I had this experience and I can't explain it. So it's very widespread and much more than most people, I think, realize.
So I'm going to ask again. Have you had an experience? Are you a believer? Come on. Give us the give it. Yes? No?
I don't know how to answer that flat out.
Come on. Have you ever seen anything you can't explain?
Sure. I've seen things I can't explain. You know, like I said, I think everybody has over the course of their lives. Now, would I call those ghosts? I don't know.
Right. Leisure suits don't count, nor do Chicago Cubs curses. We're not counting that either. So. Yeah.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
No, we said, yeah, leisure suits don't count, and neither do Chicago Cubs curses. Something's lost the second time. Yeah, something's lost. We'll move on. It's all good. All right, let's talk about your childhood. Did kids ever tease you for being Mr. Kleen?
Yeah, all the time. Thank you for bringing up a very sensitive subject.
Yes, I was hoping we could pour salt in that wound. What did they say? Give us the worst.
Well, you know, people would mispronounce my name and make fun of Mr. Kleen. You know, they all thought I should shave my head and get really big muscles.
We would never ask that.
I almost did it, too, for $15.
I'm thinking between all of us, we could give you at least 20.
Yeah.
I might do it for 20.
Oh, there you go. All right. Cool. All right, let's talk about the new book. Let's talk about some of the places you've been. The book's great. It's a huge collection, a lot of short entries on tons of locations all around the state, kind of like a guidebook if you want to go legend tripping, looking for ghosts all around. But let's talk about a couple places in particular. Western Illinois University. We've got some photos to show. Check this out. This is Simpkins Hall. Tell us some of the legends.
Well, Western Illinois University is a very fascinating case. I actually just got my second master's from there in education, and I decided to go there because it was one of the places that I'd researched for my book, Paranormal Illinois, which came out last year. Mm-hmm. And I liked the campus a lot. You know, I thought the history was interesting, so I decided to pursue my education degree there. And really, it's interesting because out of all the campuses on Illinois, Westerns has probably the most variety of different legends and ghost stories. There's one in Simpkins Hall, several in Simpkins Hall actually. What we were looking at there used to be a training school before it became home to the Department of English and Journalism. What they did was they actually built a school, a functioning school, where students at the college who are learning to become teachers could actually teach children in the classrooms. And so inside the building, it looks just like a school, and they taught up, you know, all the elementary levels. But there are rows of lockers in there. There's those old speaker boxes where the principal's announcements would be, and there's even old like little name tags in the coat racks and things like that. After it was closed down in the 1960s and became home to the Department of English and Journalism. So there's always been sort of this rumor that there are these ghost children in the building. And when you go in there, I mean, you really can see why people would say that. It's kind of spooky, the atmosphere in there. So there's that story where there's a ghost child or ghost children that people see. And then there's another story in Simpkins Hall about a ghost named Harold,
right?
Who occupies the fourth floor writing center.
Right.
And I guess the origin of the story was that a young lady was in the writing center fairly late at night. You know, she was a GA, a graduate assistant. So she was trying to get some sleep in there while she was working on a paper, and she kept hearing somebody type on a keyboard. And I guess for some reason she decided to yell, "Hey, Harold, knock it off." And the typing stopped. And so from then on out, the ghost has been called the typing ghost, and his name is Harold. But he's also, you know, people say they hear keys jingling, footsteps in the hallway, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's a recent story from the building where in one of the girls' bathrooms, supposedly you can hear someone crying in one of the stalls. So that's an interesting tale.
Sorry about that. It wasn't me. Totally wasn't me. What do you think it is about colleges? Because I know, gosh, there's been books written about college legends. It seems like colleges, universities, schools in general, these legends are drawn to these places, you know? Think about urban legends, like every college. If your roommate commits suicide, you get a 4-0. I mean, is that really on the books, or is that urban legend? But why is it that these universities draw in these stories? Why do we need them at these places?
But I have a theory about that.
Let's hear it.
My theory is, okay, so you have a lot of people going away from home for the first time, and they have a lot of anxiety, you know. A lot of people go to college and they don't have any friends, and they have to make all new friends. Then, of course, there's the stresses of academic performance. And so a lot of these stories will be related to those experiences, especially things that would cause people a lot of stress, like especially for girls, the possibility of getting pregnant accidentally. A lot of their legends have to do with that. At Western, in fact, there is a ghost story about a woman who gives birth in her dorm room and discards the baby down the garbage chute and then commits suicide. This was in Bayless Hall. And actually, recently, someone told me that that may have actually happened. I wasn't able to find any documentation about that, but they could have sworn that they saw an article about it in the newspaper several years ago. So those things tragically do occur. And I think that in order to become a legend, what you need is a certain amount of time to pass by where there's a turnover of people, where the people who actually know what happened are gone. And then they're replaced by people who maybe have heard the story, but they're not sure exactly whether it was true or not. They're not sure about the details. The reason this has happened so quickly at colleges is because every 4 years there's a new crop of students. And so if you were a senior and you know that something happened for a fact, well, the freshmen coming in don't know the first-hand information about what happened. So they start making up stories, or they exaggerate, you know, and it continues on and on for there. It's like a generational phone tag game,
Right.
except that it's happening, you know, every 4 years.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's a good point. Interesting. Yeah, I guess a life cycle at a university is way shorter and more rapid than in a town or a community or whatever. Oh, really interesting stuff. Very cool. Okay, we do have questions for you in our chat room and from email earlier today. Matt, Andrew, do tell.
All right. What do you want, from the chat room or do you want from the email?
You're in charge, sir. Pick one.
All right. Unfortunately, they're having a hard time hearing in the chat room. The audio is not well, but from what they are able to get, one question I have is they want to know if our guest thinks a vortex is a porthole.
A vortex is a porthole. That's a pretty paranormal question for a historian, but do you want to take a stab at it or just pass? You can pass if you want.
To quote our president, I believe that question is above my pay grade.
Okay, no problem, no problem. All right, actually, we did get one earlier from, this was a great Illinois question from Dave Francis.
Yeah.
Andrew, you have that
one?
one?
Dave Francis had asked, how about Lincoln's ghost train? That was one of the tales that I read about as a kid, and it sounded the creepiest.
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln, of course, from the great state of Illinois. The tale of Lincoln's ghost train. Have you looked into that one?
The stories of Springfield and Lincoln aren't ones that I really have looked into very closely, because I think that they've been written about pretty extensively. What I always try to do is look at legends and stories first that haven't been written about as much. So I tend to avoid the more popular stories like that one.
Oh, fine. All right, fair enough. Okay. No, that's cool. But you know what? But you're a local guy, and of course we're here in the mothership, which travels all over, and it's funny how I think the United States, we have a fascination with Abraham Lincoln. I think unrivaled compared to any other president, really. Of course, he paid the ultimate price, but he's not the only one. Other presidents were assassinated or died in office, but there's something about Abraham Lincoln that's just so intriguing, and so any connection to that, whether it's his ghost in the White House or his ghost train in Illinois, people certainly want to ask.
Oh yeah, especially in history too. I mean, the Lincoln gravy train goes on and on. If you want to write a book in history and have it sell well, just have it something to do with Lincoln, and people will buy it.
Right. We did get another question earlier today. Why didn't you write any books about Lincoln? This is from your publisher.
I'm not a big Lincoln fan, actually.
Whoa,
he's dissing Abe.
you America hater! How dare you, sir?
But can he do Lincoln?
Yeah.
All right. We can get off the Lincoln train. It's fair enough.
Okay.
All right, let's
Thank
talk
you.
about Chanute Air Force Base over in Rantoul, Illinois. We've got some pictures to show. This is pretty cool. Military installations, of course. Tell us about Chanute.
Chanute's an interesting place, and it's one that really no one else has written about. Getting my degrees at Eastern down there, I was very close to Champaign, and Chanute Air Force Base is in Rantoul, which is a little bit north of Champaign. So I would meet a lot of people from the area that would sort of tell me stories about it, and it's fascinating. It started out during World War I as a basic airfield, when we first got our Air Force started, and then lasted all the way up until the 90s. And I guess it had a really bad reputation. There was a saying in the Army, or the Air Force, don't shoot 'em, Chanute 'em, which is basically like people were sent there as a punishment. But, the place is fascinating. People have told me that they used to sneak into the hangars and stuff to try to see. They said that they could see ghost pilots, like in the cockpits of some of the old planes there.
Right.
And people have seen like officers strolling the sidewalks. There was a really unusual story. Now this actually happened. I believe it was in 2001. A police canine unit responded to a trespassing call there at Whitehall,
Right.
which is one of the largest buildings in the area. And the police dog chased something up to the roof, and the officers didn't really see what it was. And then the canine, who was very experienced, I think he had about 900 arrests that he was involved with, he leapt off the roof of the building to his death. And
Wow.
that is a confirmed story. The obituary was in the paper and everything. So that's one of the more unusual tales from the base. But as you can see from the pictures, it's just a creepy place to go. And it's nice because even though you can't go in any of the buildings because there's no trespassing,
Right.
you can walk around the grounds and see all the abandoned buildings from the outside. There are some people who live in the apartments there. They've rented out some of the old officers' quarters. There are some places that are considered toxic, and you're not supposed to go over there.
Oh, good.
So, but otherwise, I mean, it's very creepy to go there in the afternoon when no one's around,
Yeah.
and just sort of look at all the buildings.
This is the cool thing about ghostly legends, and this goes back hundreds of years, if not thousands. In some cases, ghostly legends have been a security system. So you would tell your children, don't go near the ruins of that old castle because the white lady or the green lady will get you. And the reality is you were trying to scare your children from a potentially dangerous situation, falling and getting hurt on the rocks. And so you've got a place with toxic waste, which is just super there in Illinois. That's if ghosts keep you away from the toxic waste, why not, right? Maybe that's better than guard dogs and infrared laser beams.
Well, if you spend too much time there, you might become a ghost.
Yeah, right. Or at least you'd glow, maybe before you Anyway, never mind. Okay, you sent us an awesome video, and I want to get to this really soon here. Actually, we can start the video because we're going to talk over it. Tell us about Devil's Gate in Libertyville, Illinois. This looks like a legend trip if ever I saw one. Here's the video. If I'm judging by the foliage and the look that this was taken around November 24th, 2002.
Oh yeah, how did you discern that?
I'm pretty amazing.
Yeah, well, what we're looking at right now is the old pool, and I'll tell you. I'll just tell you the story. According to legend, there was a girls' school there, and the school unfortunately had a crazed janitor. You know, you always hear about these crazed janitors. Well, this one was particularly sadistic, and he kidnapped several girls one by one and cut off their heads and placed their heads on the spikes of the gate that went into the school. Now, if you go there today, there is a gate. There's an old wrought iron gate with big spikes coming up, and it's sort of medieval looking. And people think that if you go there during the full moon, you can see the girls' heads hanging on the spikes. And of course, the Park District and the city of Libertyville, the police will say that nothing was ever there, that there was never a school. That part is true. There never was a school. But there were things there. And if you go into the woods, you'll see old fire hydrants. In the video, we saw part of a rope swing that came down, hung off the tree. There's cement foundations. There's a pool that's been filled in. And what it was originally it was an orphanage. It was the Catherine Cray Budd Memorial Home for Children. And that was bought out by the Archdiocese of Chicago in the 1930s and turned into a boys' camp called St. Francis. And so that operated for a long time, and then it was closed, and obviously they tore down all the buildings and everything. So it's a fascinating place. I mean, the story itself is interesting.
Sure.
But going in the woods and seeing, all the ruins of the building and everything, that's really cool as well.
Yeah, so, I mean, did the murders happen? I mean, was that part true? Were there murders?
To my knowledge, no.
Okay.
And I've spoken to some people who went to the camp in the 1960s, and they said that, of course, they had stories of, an axe murderer or someone like that who roamed around the woods at night, to scare the kids. And I think my theory is that the story about the girls being murdered was something that was told at the camp, and then that story sort of outlived the camp.
Yeah.
But it doesn't help. I'm sure you've come across these instances where instead of actually telling people what really happened there, the police or the city or whatever will deny that anything ever existed there. And so people just fill in the blanks with their imaginations.
Right. Understood. Very good, sir. Well, we are almost up at the end of the show. Andrew, Matt, have you been to Illinois? Have you checked out the haunts there yet?
I have.
No, I've never been to Illinois.
We might have to drag you guys out there. We're going to be doing a live event in Chicago, and we're talking about doing 30-odd minutes live, which is going to be awesome because we're probably going to get Michael Kleen back on. He's going to be there, as well as some of our other past guests and future guests. And I'm thinking that could just be a grand old time. They have beer there,
Ooh.
And
They have pizza in Chicago?
They have pizza there too. Yes, it's not like the rest of the world though. It's different. It's like lasagna on a crust. Thank you, Andy. Yeah, that's totally true. But we'll try it. We'll totally try it. Michael Kleen, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been awesome. Thank you for the pictures, the video. It's been great stuff. We'll have links to his website.
Thanks again for having me on.
Absolutely, man. We'll have links to his website, his books from ours. You can check it out at 30oddminutes.com. Folks, until next time, for Andy, Matt, Eric, Andy, Andrew, Sarah, stay odd. Yay!